the question that we've been trying to ask ourselves after she released that disaster of talking points of alleged policy that nobody can wrap their heads around, including economists themselves. The question that we've been trying to ask ourselves, and now we're starting to put two and two together, is why is immigration into this country so heavy, illegal immigration into this country so heavy? Number one. And then number two, what's the play? Right? What's the play? And so we still putting it together, and we got to use our context clues because nobody has really been able to ask the questions to Kamala Harris herself. And since nobody has actually been able to ask the questions, all we have left to go off of is our own assumptions, right? But two things that we want to talk about right now: becoming legal, and then migrants eventually buying homes. Now, my question then becomes, based off of her proposal that the American taxpayers would have to pay for as far as these $25,000 to first-generation buyers, words matter, first-generation buyers and homeowners, who would they go to? And who would it benefit the most? Just curious. Let's deep dive into it a little bit for 10 minutes. Let's talk about what's happening at the border and a judge recently blocking Biden's policy to a pathway for citizenship for immigrant spouses of the United States of America. Hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
And some breaking news on the immigration front. A federal judge has just dealt a pretty big blow to one of President Biden's immigration policies that offered a path to citizenship for undocumented immigrants who are married to American citizens. Now, the judge ruling in favor of a legal push from a group of 16 Republican AGs looking to prevent that policy from being implemented. And now a group of immigrants is fighting back. Here's what one of those immigrants told NBC's David Noriega.
I've been in this country since second grade. I went to elementary here. I pledged allegiance to the flag. I took an oath to protect the United States Constitution. I am protecting citizens in my city every day. So what harm are you facing when I'm paying taxes? How is Texas or any states showing harm in here when it's all benefit that spouses of U.S. citizens are contributing?
So let's bring in NBC News correspondent David Noriega with the latest. David,
you guys know I like to use different sources, so I'm not always going to go with Fox News or CNN or ABC or CBS. I like to go through everything.
Called Parole in Place. What was it before this afternoon, and what happens to it now?
Yeah, so the way it works is if you're undocumented and you marry a U.S. citizen, you do have a path to a green card and eventually citizenship, but to apply, you have to leave the country, and that's a huge risk because you risk being permanently separated from your family in doing so. What Parole in Place did was it allowed people to apply for green cards and citizenship without leaving the country, keeping their families together. That's why the administration gave it that name. Now, the government started accepting applications for this program a week ago.
About a week ago. What? Why are they just now starting to implement some of these plans is what I'm trying to figure out. Why are they just now starting to implement some of these plans? And now they're trying to push through and accept these applications and enforce these things all the way through prior to this November election, and eventually whoever takes president of the United States of America in 2025. Now they've got the Keeping American Family Together plan. They're keeping America's families together plan.
Lots of people applied. I've spoken to several people who applied, but now what this judge in Texas has ruled is that for at least 14 days and possibly longer, the federal government cannot grant these applications. So people can still apply, they can still send in the paperwork, and maybe it'll be approved sometime in the future depending on what happens in the court case. But for now, the government cannot grant parole in place. I was just on the phone with Fode, who you saw in that video literally a few minutes ago when this news came down. He described it as feeling like a knife to the gut, this feeling like this potential huge change in his life was right in front of them and then was taken away again.
And so this is a 14-day stay, and then it goes back to court, I imagine, right? I mean, what happens next?
Right. So the judge can extend the 14-day stay. And I would say that given how quickly he issued this stay, this is a Trump-appointed judge in East Texas. The state of Texas filed this case in a division of the Eastern District of Texas where there are two judges, both Trump appointees. So they were guaranteed to get a Trump-appointed judge. He acted very quickly in slapping down this program. Before the federal government could even reply with a briefing in court, he paused it. So I think that's an indication of where he stands on this case. And I think I don't want to predict, but I wouldn't be surprised if he extended the stay for the entire duration of the court case. The big question then is we're going to run into the election. And if we run into the election and former President Trump is once again president, he's likely to rescind this program altogether, in which case
and then, we're going to have to go back to the drawing board as far as reestablishing what immigration into this country look like and becoming legal in a general sense. But let's pivot for a second. So that's what's happening as far as this judge slapping down this new program where they're just now starting to get applications, right? California is looking to pave the way for illegal migrants to become homeowners.
California has a program meant to help low-income first-time homebuyers get a down payment. William Lajeunesse joins me. William, could this program soon be available to illegal migrants?
Well, Stuart, that is what Democrats are trying to ram through Sacramento right now. It's basically a program that subsidizes qualified illegal immigrants to up to $100,000 each to buy a home. So the program is called the California Dream for All program. It's created to help middle and income home buyers. Now, initially, the program required residents to be here legally, either a U.S. citizen or a legal permanent resident. But last week, Assembly Democrats overrode Republican opposition, changing that eligibility to say this: an applicant who meets the requirements for a loan under the Home Purchase Assistance Program shall not be disqualified by the agency based solely on the applicant's immigration status.
How is that possible? How is it possible? Because California is helping people purchase homes. So that means that they've used our legislative body to insert themselves into what is supposed to be a private practice and process, only to be regulated, not to be incentivized, to be regulated, so that we don't have applicants that ultimately crash the housing market again, similar to what happened in 2008. Now, if you're telling me that an applicant, according to this California Assembly Bill in 1840, is that an applicant who meets the requirements for a loan under a home purchase assistance program, meaning that they're basically helping these people get homes, how can you not disqualify them by their immigration status? I'm not saying that they can't buy homes. I'm just saying, how can you use other people's tax dollars to help somebody else buy a home who's not even here legally? How can they use U.S. tax dollars to help somebody do something that's not even here legally? That's your money. I don't really know if y'all really grasping what we're saying right now. This is your money. Your money.
The social and economic benefits of homeownership should be accessible to everyone, regardless of immigration status.
So the program provides first-time buyers with a zero-interest loan up to 20% of a home's purchase price. On a median-priced home in California, that's about $150,000 cash up front for each buyer, with their down payment and help with closing costs. So
that's crazy. That is crazy. That is absolutely insane and crazy. I don't know. I don't really have the words to communicate what my thoughts are, what my feelings are, without saying something that is just 100% disrespectful. I don't have the words. I'm a C student, so I'm limited by my capacity. I don't have the words to say. I don't. I just don't.
So far this year, the program cost taxpayers about $255 million to help about 2,000 buyers. The bill is sponsored by a prominent Latino rights group with close ties to Vice President Harris.
What the rest of the America needs to be worried about is the Kamala Harris-Walz administration taking these crazy California ideas and nationalizing them and taking them to the rest of the country. The country can't afford to buy illegal immigrants' homes.
So eventually, Stuart, the state is repaid with a little appreciation. It is run by a state agency that will then help the immigrant obtain the other 80% of the financing. The bill is expected to pass this week. We don't know what Governor Newsom is going to do, sign it or not. Back to you.
My guess is he'll sign it, but that's another story. William, thank you very much indeed.
It's disrespectful. I think that it's disrespectful to the American people. I think it's disrespectful to taxpayers. I think it's disrespectful to the people that have been looking for government assistance, to veterans. I think it's disrespectful to homeless people. I think it's disrespectful to everybody that lives in California and ultimately the American people, because they're trying to adopt these same policies and make them a national platform to stand on. I just think it's messed up. And we see the play and we see the disrespect and we see how this is going to go. And we acting like we don't see it and y'all just letting it rock out.